Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance Wrestling. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson, joined as always, my man, the mobile man today, Mr. Chance Michaels. Chance, things happen in threes, and we woke up this morning to the unfortunate passing of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Mr. Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, passing away at the age of 71 of cardiac arrest in his home in Florida early this morning. Instant thoughts on it, man. How you doing?
Well, he's the greatest of all time. I don't think that's this. We can argue that, but I mean, if you look at the numbers and the tickets sold, nobody had a bigger impact than Hogan. And his run was longer than Austin and Rock. If you go from the '80s and then he revitalized himself in the '90s with NWO. I mean, I've been looking at X a little bit and Instagram, and a lot of people are dogging him down, saying all these bad things about him. But he's the greatest of all time, and steroids get you. And steroids almost killed Triple H a few years ago, and Hogan is 70. So I mean, your body cannot just do all these roids and stuff. I hate to say that. It's gonna get
Well,
your heart.
you
Definitely
forgot
plays
the
a part. I'm
Warrior.
not saying that's what caused it, but it definitely plays a part.
Well, it definitely plays a part. I mean, we look at other guys as well. Eddie Guerrero, it played a part in his death as well.
Hmm.
It played a part
All
in
of them,
death.
perfect. Everybody.
Yeah, Rude, you name it.
But
But
what we always say that Triple H was clean. He was clean from street drugs, but he's not clean from the steroids. Triple H eats steroids like candies and PRTs and HGHs. So that stuff's not good for your heart. And same with Rock's got to be careful too. In 15, 20 years, all those roids he does, it all catches up to you. I'm
no,
not
it
saying
does.
Hogan's doing roids in the last 20 years, but we all know he used to do them, right?
Yeah, well, again, it is what it is. I mean, but you know what? That's neither here or there today. Today, we are just going to talk about the man Hulk Hogan, the wrestler Hulk Hogan. I know he's very polarizing. I've made that comment in a couple of chat groups that I'm
Polarizing,
in.
polarizing in the hardcore wrestling circle. To the regular Joe, I found out about this in the gym. This Kim girl said, "Oh, Hogan's dead," and all the guys, the casual fans, would say how amazing is, how much I love him. So yes, in the hardcore world of our realm of podcasting, the hardcore people, absolutely, they're bad mouthing Hogan, saying he ruined his legacy. Those guys are idiots. Those guys are clowns. They're stuck in their little bubble. They can go cheer on Johnny Gargano and JD McDonough. Ozzy Osbourne cheated on his wife. I mean, we can go on and on. Hogan, Austin beat up his wife. We can go on and on and on about every legend has something they've done wrong, right?
No,
So
but you know
for
what?
some reason they want to get Hogan.
Everybody's done something wrong. Ultimate Warrior did a lot as
Triple
well.
H cheated on China. I mean, we can just do this all day, right?
Fair enough, but we're not here to talk about all the bad things. Let's just
No,
focus.
I'm just saying people are like when you're saying he's polarizing, right? Polarizing,
He's
yes,
polarizing
to
though.
the
You
yes,
can't
to the hard,
say
yes, I agree. To the hardcore wrestling community, he's very polarizing. Those guys are scared of their own shadow, though. But to the average regular guy, he is the greatest of all time, or if not one of the greatest, right?
and
So it
that's not
depends how you
arguable.
view it.
That's not arguing, right? I'm just saying, unfortunately, he's leaving us with a legacy that is polarizing. That's it. But we're not focusing on that.
But
Uh,
yes, you are right. But what I'm saying to the hardcore indie community, yes, he's very polarizing. But to the regular guy, it's not.
right. That's fine. Um, it's a shock, man. I mean, it's all of a sudden it kind of happened, but we were hearing rumblings of this for the last few weeks that he wasn't doing well. And then Jimmy Hart came out yesterday saying that, oh, he looked great. He was doing karaoke with Nick the night before.
Hmm.
So this is really sudden. I mean, the man wasn't well. We could tell that he had problem walking. I didn't really know that he had too much of an issue with the ticker, but this
Maybe he didn't know. Maybe just a sudden cardiac arrest. Who
well, this
knows,
is
right?
it. This is it, right? Like a lot of his issues were with the lower body. A lot of the times we were saying that, he can barely walk. He looks so,
Mm.
his last appearance that he made on TV booed out of the arena. Remember, he hasn't been on TV since.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
and that's thanks for bringing that up. So here's the thing: now you're gonna have people like Triple H and all these guys who are scared of the fans. Of course, they're gonna boo Hogan in LA, especially during the election time, right around that era. So of course they're gonna boo Hogan out of the building. You got a bunch of nerds in there paying $1,200 for tickets. Of course they're gonna boo Hogan. Triple H and Khan got scared of Hogan. They didn't bring him back. They didn't put him on TV, and now they're gonna sit there and give you this big tribute and tell you how much they love the man. They didn't like the guy. So it's so much fake and so much phoniness in wrestling. It's actually quite sad.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but listen, right off the bat, man, what are your fondest memories of Hulk Hogan? What were the things that you remember the most? What's your favorite Hogan?
Hogan is the greatest of all time. He always looked good. He's always in shape. He reinvented himself as NWO Hogan. Had an amazing run there. 80s, 90s, 2000s. That big match with The Rock. Everything he did was larger than life. He's a bigger star in his prime than Rock, than Austin. Austin had a 5 year run. Hogan went for many years at the top. You know what I mean? Hogan sold more tickets than Rock and Austin. If you look at the numbers, Rock and Austin never sold as many tickets as Hogan did at WrestleMania 3. We can go on and on and on, but he's just the greatest of all time, dude. And Hogan slamming Andre is iconic. Probably the biggest moment in wrestling history. I can't think of a bigger moment. What else is bigger than that at the time,
Well, at the
right?
time, yeah. Well, I mean, you just look at
But
it
even
all.
then,
Like, I
since then,
mean,
we haven't had an iconic moment. The wrestlers today, they don't capture you like Hogan did, and even Austin Rock. They don't. Right? They're all little guys now. And it doesn't. If you're not a larger than life, look larger than life, and act larger than life, you're not going to get the regular person by believing you. And Hogan made you believe because he's always in shape. He looked good, great on the mic, great charisma. I mean, so many moments, man. I can go here for an hour for how good he is. But Hogan slamming Andre is the one that sticks out.
yeah. So for me, like Hogan slamming Andre absolutely is right up there as well, 100%. But for me, for I go back a little further as well. I go back. I remember watching the Iron Sheik match. When he came on TV,
Mm-hmm.
when he finally won. That was huge for me because that kind of like, wow, this guy's bigger than life. It just
Mm-hmm.
cemented everything in my heart. And then growing up with Hogan with the rock and wrestling era, and watching all that kind of stuff, unfold with Cyndi Lauper and what have you, and then seeing Hogan reinvent himself, NWO, that whole thing. People are still rocking those shirts wherever you go.
And there you go.
So, the man definitely did his part in the business. I think the only guy that could be comparable to him in terms of a run would be John Cena, right? I mean, in terms of longevity and being on the top. Hogan did it over the span of two companies. Cena did it with one. But I mean, without Hogan, regardless of what your opinion is on him, in or out of the ring, was he the greatest worker? No, but the charisma and his showmanship and everything, in my opinion, is what makes him what he was. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was an icon. You go, and the thing is, when you think of Hulk Hogan, it's global because right now I went downstairs and I told my missus that Hulk Hogan died. And
Mm-hmm.
she was scrambling, looking for whatever she could on the phone. So that's the effect Hogan had. You're right. He is the casual man's number one guy,
Everybody
right?
knows who Hogan is, right? They say he's
Everyone
not a good
knows.
worker, but wrestling's entertainment. So Dean Malenko is a better worker, but nobody knows who the guy is.
Everybody
So I
knows
mean,
who Hogan is. Everyone knows who Ali is. Everyone knows who Michael Jackson is. Everyone knows who Jordan is. You look at
mhm.
those four names that I dropped. Those four guys are known everywhere around the world. You can go to the smallest. You could go to an Iraqi village in the mountains there, and people will know who. Someone there will know who Hulk Hogan is if you
Yeah,
reference him, right? If that's that kind of power that this man had. So taking nothing away from him. Did technology kind of screw him up a little bit later on in life? Sure, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? Those things
to the
happen.
hardcore wrestling community, yes, it did absolutely.
Yeah,
To the
right.
to the
So
to the regular guy that works hard and goes to the gym and trains, it's like it was he shouldn't have said it, but he did, and people got over it. But the
yeah,
people, the wrestling fans, they are the most
kind of
fickle,
funny because that stuff
self-centered,
happened. That
lazy
that
bums.
stuff happened so long, well, not long ago, but long enough where why would it resurface all of a sudden, 10 years later almost, right? So that's the question I
Because Well, because people don't like him, and people don't like him because he's built. They don't like him because he's alpha male. So you get these people want to cheer on Sami Zayn and JD McDonough, and the nerds have taken over wrestling for the most part. There's still a few exceptions, but for the most part, if you watch the show, it's the guys from the crowd are in the ring now, and it never used to be that way. I took a picture of Sami Zayn last week at my gym, and I said, guys, what does this guy do? You know what they told me? Some people said, is he a painter? Is he a chef? He doesn't look like a pro wrestler, and that's where wrestling has gone, unfortunately, now, and it's turning people off.
well, I mean, that's a different topic for another day,
No, I'm
but
just saying, for example,
uh,
I'm just saying when you compare like Hogan looks like a star, Sami Zayn looks like your landscaper. That's just kind of how the nerds have taken over wrestling. And it's sad.
well, it's unfortunate. And even at the end of the run, I think things started to fall apart for him in WCW near the end of there with Jeff Jarrett and all those guys. And it, it's a tough situation. This is a tough one to
I
swallow.
just don't want any of these guys, all these guys that are bad mouthing Hogan and all the guys on our wrestling podcast. Well, I know who they are. I don't want them coming on here saying, "Oh, we love you, we miss you," and stuff, and they're going to start shining his boots now. If you didn't like the guy, say it. It's RIP, but we didn't like you because this. Stick with it. Don't fold your tent up now and start praising the guy. You know what I mean? Triple H ran scared of it. So did Nick Khan, and now they're going to sit there and do a big tribute to how much they love the man and they don't like him. That's a
Well,
phoniness, you know.
Well, look, I mean, without Hulk
You don't
Hogan,
have to you don't have to diss a dead guy, but stick to your guns. What I'm saying.
I still say Vince made Hogan. Without Vince, there would be no Hogan, but Hogan did his part, right? I mean, as a coach, Vince did everything he was supposed to do. And as a
Mm-hmm.
player, Hogan did everything he was supposed to do. It's kind of like, if you want to make the comparison, I would say they were like Belichick and Brady, right? He called the
Mm-hmm.
plays, he drew them out, he executed them. That's what made them perfect as a
I'm
team.
gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna do a big write up here later on. I'm gonna get like an hour, so I'm gonna pop it up on X. I'm gonna list his best matches, his greatest moments, his biggest
Yeah.
arena gates. I'm gonna
Well, for
put that
me,
up.
like I said, my favorite match of all time would, and it's not even Andre and Hogan, because I mean, as good as that was and everything, for me, I still kind of go back to that whole feud with King Kong Bundy and Kamala and some of those kind of iconic guys, like,
Mm-hmm.
literally when it was good versus evil sort of a deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Early on in his WCW career, he got into some real kind of campy stuff with Kevin Sullivan and his whole faction there, those evil warlord dudes, whatever they were called, man.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but Hogan's ultimate run between 1983 right up to 1991 would probably be my favorite Hogan, right? And then you get into the NWA Hogan, which was a little different, but I mean, the iconic Hogan, the big armed Hogan, the Macho Man, Mega Powers Hogan, all of that kind of stands out, man. Today, wrestling heaven just got a little more hectic. That's all I'm going to say, man. The gates have opened. And I've always said, when a wrestler dies or a musician dies, it's almost like I always picture it this way. Imagine, I don't know, Macho Man getting beat up by a couple of dudes right now up in heaven in the ring, and all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
Hogan's music hits, and that's his entrance into heaven. That's what I believe happens, right? Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Hogan's here, Hogan's here. So we've definitely lost an icon. Ric Flair is still standing, respect to him, considering
Yep.
everything that this man's gone through, just getting over skin cancer as well. I'm curious to hear what Ric Flair has to say
Well,
about
said
all
it. He
this.
said it for his whole life, like since he's been wrestling. Hogan's the goat. He says, "Not me. It's not Hogan is the goat, the biggest, the greatest star ever." He's not saying Hogan is the best worker. Wrestling is entertainment. That's the thing people get bent out of shape about. You want the best worker? Go watch Dean Malenko. Go
Well,
watch
look,
Lance
when we
Storm.
say
Right?
when
You
we
want
say,
you want entertainment. You want it all, and Hogan
look
had it
when we
all.
when we look at Hogan, Hogan did things that um, you know, without Hogan, the independent scene, the regional scenes, all those scenes, WCW even at that time would not have a leg to stand on if it wasn't for the things that Hogan accomplished as a character, with
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I mean, he brought wrestling back in a huge way. He put it on the national stage. Rocky 3. I mean, outside of Rocky 3, the rest of his movies we can talk about. They weren't,
Mm-hmm.
they were cheesy, but he did what he did. I mean,
Yeah.
he opened the door for other guys. Like he literally opened all the doors for everyone that everyone is doing today. I'm not to say that The Rock wouldn't be a movie star, but it helped that Hogan was there first. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And not to say that his movies were great or anything, but he opened those doors, right? Thunder in Paradise, the commercials, Bret Hart, Lonesome Dove, all the movies that came out with wrestlers in there. So I mean, yes, his impact has to be felt. You have to separate the bad. We can say bad things about everybody who's passed away, right? For the
Mm-hmm.
most part. And that's just a given. Everyone does have a past. We understand. Some are a bit darker than others. We get that. But if we just separate the man and just look at him as the iconic wrestler that he was, wrestling would not be here today as it is in the form
Mm-hmm.
that it is. It wouldn't have lived as long as it did. It'd be regional as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, Vince also, we can't take away that Vince was the mastermind. He just had the right guy to execute the moves, right? It's
Yep.
like I said, Belichick could have drawn up all the plays, but if he didn't have Brady, would that dynasty happen?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
Hogan is an iconic figure. And like I said, when hate him, love him, that's your personal opinion. But separate the man from the ring and outside the ring, right? Those are two different
I
people.
totally agree with you, but the world that we're in our podcast realm, those guys can't separate that. They are so, a lot of it is that Hogan was so built, so cool, so alpha, loved by everybody. So these guys, they have a hard time relating to a guy like that because they can barely walk up a hill, they're out of shape. They have a hard time relating to a guy like Hogan, so they're going to gravitate or towards the Sami Zayn's, McDonoughs of the world, they're gonna have a hard time giving Hogan his just due.
Well, I mean, you gotta, we got to look at what the common wrestling fan is. So if they're trying to find a common link, and I mean, this is my assumption here. Okay, when you look at, you keep mentioning Sami Zayn,
Well,
McDonough.
because he's
Oh, no,
very
hold
popular,
on,
that's
dude,
why.
hold on. But what I'm saying is, it's almost what people relate to these days. So if most people are looking like that, if most people live like that, and walking around like that, that's what they're going to relate to, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, thanks for so the
We come
common
from a
they've
time.
chased away the common guy and they've focused on the nerds and the
we
hardcores. And
we came
that
from a time where working out, being in physical condition,
mhm.
and I think a lot of that had to do with the guys that we were watching. We wanted to be like those guys.
Absolutely.
When I was a
Yep.
little kid, I didn't have muscles per se at the time,
Hmm.
but we were all flexing, we were all doing this, we were all eating our vitamins. So we grew up in that generation of wanting to train, of wanting to do these things. So, those are the good things. I mean, Hogan promoted that for us, right? But
Yeah.
as Hogan diminished, the smaller guys started to emerge, and that's what the smaller guys are related to. I mean, that's just what it is. So that's probably
True,
explains a lot
that's, no, you're
why
right. But
we.
the problem with that is when you go to the hardcore nerd base, you lose 3 4 million people watching your product, and that's the problem. That's what they've done. They still have their big market, I get it, but SmackDowns went down 1 million, Raw's going down in numbers because people, they're getting sick and tired of watching wimpy guys beat up big guys when the average guy in the crowd can beat up these guys in the ring, and then when happens, it's not believable stuff. Like Drew McIntyre will beat up 95% of people, not Sami Zayn.
Yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
watching a guy right now cut the grass. He kicked the crap out of Sammy. And how are you supposed to believe Sammy can beat up a guy like Goldberg or Braun Breaker? It gets corny.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
But
Fair enough.
rest in peace. We'll end it on this. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. In my opinion, the greatest of all time. And I'll list his matches and do a big write up on him pretty quick here when I get a little more time. But yeah, RIP to the greatest of all time in my book.
Yeah, no, it's not arguable, man. I mean, he is the greatest of all time. He's definitely earned his spot on top of the Mount Rushmore. Uh, you know, but at the end of the day, it's a tough one to swallow. And like I said, things happen in three.
Mhm.
We lost Theo Huxtable. Of all the people in the world, who would have thought that Theo would have died this week?
Yeah.
2 days later, we lose Ozzy Osbourne, and 2 days after that, we lose Hulk Hogan. So
Yeah.
two out of those three, two, I guess all three are iconic in their own way. I mean, Malcolm Jamal Warner will always be known as Theo Huxtable. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He'll always be remembered for that. And Ozzy's Ozzy. The one bright
Yeah.
light I will say about Ozzy is I'm glad that tribute show happened when it did,
Hmm.
considering when he passed away. I mean, if there was ever a wake where the guest of honor was still there to witness it, that was
Yeah.
phenomenal. Hearing Ozzy sing one more time,
Yeah.
was phenomenal. Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, his last appearance on TV wasn't probably the greatest visual of all time, unfortunately. But you know what? The man is wrestling. The man is, he did everything that he had to do, and at the time, no one had a problem with it. No one had a problem with Barry Bonds. No one had a problem with Mark McGuire. But how quickly everyone turns on you when it doesn't look good for you. You know what I'm saying? So, again, guys and gals, this is just a quick tribute show. We're going to get back into it with you guys next week with a bit more information and stuff. But we just wanted to get something out to you guys super fast. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. You will
Yeah.
never be forgotten. Thank you for everything that you did for this sport that we love. Regardless of what anybody wants to say, everyone is a wrestling fan in some shape or the other because of Hulk Hogan. And if you're not, then that's fine too. But 90% of people in this world who says they're a wrestling fan is because of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
RIP greatest of all time, man. That's all I have to say about that. It's not
so on this
just to
day,
watch
ladies,
see what he's done, and yeah,
yeah,
RIP.
go back, watch old matches. I'm sure people are going to be all over it. But guys, remember this, man. We're going to end it here. Just a quick one for everyone today. Uh, you know, please hug your loved ones, and don't go to bed angry with anybody, man. Regardless if you're having issues or not. Remember, life can end at any minute, any second of any day. It doesn't matter how fit you are. It doesn't matter how out of shape you are. We've seen icons like Ozzy Osbourne who've lived their life to the fullest, and see people who live their life to the healthiest and pass away earlier. So never take granted for what you have in front of you. This is why I always say cherish everything, love everything, and always be happy. Samp, anything else? Or Chance,
But
anything?
say, man, you're going to see a lot already online. A lot of Hulk Hogan hate. The nerds are out there kind of celebrating that he's dead and trashing on him. Those guys are low life scum, dirty, rotten maggots. I mean, you don't have to like Hogan, that's fine. But once a guy's dead, you don't sit there and you don't wish any, even your worst enemy, you don't wish your worst enemy to be dead. So you shouldn't gloat that somebody passes away. It's a
Well, you know,
sad thing. Whether
Chance,
you like him or not is one thing. Say you hate the man, he was all these bad things, fine. But to celebrate his death is
but Chance,
disgusting.
this is the result of the world that we live in today.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, this is how people are. And you know what? All I can suggest to you and I and to other people like us is very simply there's no need for it. Just focus on the positive stuff. And you know what? We shouldn't even be bothered by it because we know who we are.
exactly, dude. Well said.
Fair?
Yeah,
All right,
fair.
brother man. All right, guys. I'm Bobby Sampson. He is Chance Michaels driving around like a madman. So we're gonna end this one here. Guys, have a great weekend. Catch up on Hulk Hogan, watch any old videos and things like that. Let us know what your favorite matches were in the comments. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more in-depth information. We'll have a lot more stuff for you, Hogan related, on that show. And we'll talk to you soon. Samp and Chance are out.